This, you've just heard Corey Lewandowski talk about bringing together two agendas. That sounded rather magnanimous on the part of the Trump campaign to me. What do you think?
Well, it was, and I think Donald Trump has exhibited that throughout this anticipated meeting with Paul Ryan. Look, I don't understand what Paul Ryan was thinking when he made comments that sort of indicated, hey, I may not support the Republican nominee. In other words, what he was saying was, I don't care that Donald Trump has more Republican voters than anybody ever has. I just may decide that the voters are too stupid and I'm going to act indifferently toward them. And I just can't imagine that he intended that to come across that way, because it was disastrous.
Yeah, and do you expect them to shake hands and be ready for the future, and for Speaker Ryan effectively to salute the party's presumptive nominee at the end of that meeting and a warm embrace between the two?
Well, I think so. I mean, and I think if it doesn't happen, then it's Paul Ryan that's going to be. I mean, Donald Trump goes into that meeting with the wind behind his back. Look, people are mad at Congress, and you know why? Because the Republican Congress pushed a trade deal that the Republican people didn't want. They pushed immigration policies that the Republican voters didn't want. They didn't defund Planned Parenthood. They didn't change the debt ceiling.
Speaker Ryan led two of those efforts and pushed through also an omnibus bill that in his first 6 months as Speaker that his own conference didn't want.
And let me add, too, Lou, that Donald Trump has also said we're not going to go in there and gut Social Security payments for elderly people. We're not going to somehow make the debt disappear by balancing the budget off the backs of the people who have stood on concrete floors, worked hard and lifted heavy things their whole lives, only to be told, hey, you're going to have to work another 10 years. Yeah. So I just can't imagine that anything ought to happen other than Donald Trump goes in, Paul Ryan shakes his hand, says, sir, I've been thinking about this. You know, you got something going here. I'm on board. I want to talk to you. I want to give you some thoughts. But I respect the fact that the voters have put you in this room, and only one section of voters in one of the 435 congressional districts have put me here. Right. So, yes, sir, let's talk about what we need to do to win this thing.
Now, that first district, by the way, in Wisconsin that he represents, you know, a lot of people aren't aware, he didn't win his hometown in that election. It was a little tough for him, and it might give him some sense of humility and some modesty and some appropriate respect. I think some respect ought to be built by what we saw out of Quinnipiac today, Governor. When we look at Florida and Ohio and Pennsylvania in a dead heat between Clinton and Trump, I mean, that's impressive, isn't it?
It's not only impressive, but it's indicative of where I think this election is going to go. I believe Donald Trump is going to beat Hillary Clinton. For one reason, you know, Hillary Clinton is funded by the people and the companies and the Wall Street interests who think that they're too big to fail. And Hillary thinks that she is too big to jail. And I think that the arrogance and hubris of her donors and her own campaign will be her undoing. And I believe Donald Trump will put into play people who have historically voted Democrat, but they're going to be voting for Donald Trump come November.
Governor Mike Huckabee, great to have you with us.